All right. Well, apparently Instagram is not going to let me go live. That's okay. All right. Hey, I'm Lisa Bischoff with Life Reimagined. I'm one of the co-founders, and tonight I am joined with one of the other co-founders, Andrea Boldt, and we're going to talk about what is Life Reimagined. A little bit of a quick backstory on me is I went from being an electrical engineer to a hacker to a jewel thief to facing 12 years in prison back in 2019 and feeling pretty helpless. My whole life has turned around and totally transformed both from the inside and out. And I have found a way to take people through transformational processes through my company, Fit to Exist. But I wanted to find another way to do it with people in a shorter period of time, hence Life Reimagined and getting to work with an amazing team of people. There's actually 4 of us that are the core team of Life Reimagined. One that was on a live last week with me was Ike Chan. One that'll be in an upcoming live is Ken Lewis. And then tonight we have Andrea Boldt, and she's going to share a little bit of her background, what she does, and we're going to get into some of what Life Reimagined is all about.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. Well, I have kind of an eclectic background, and I think why I'm attracted to Life Reimagined is because, I've spent most of my life trying to figure out what I want to do when I grow up, and I want to help other people kind of find that space. I found kind of a place of peace finally for myself, and where I love my life and I love just everything that I do. So my background is I'm actually originally from Texas, and I went to Princeton and Columbia for my undergrad and graduate school. I spent a little time doing international public policy and conflict resolution. So I worked in places like Northern Ireland, Mexico City. I worked also in back when Yugoslavia was Yugoslavia and it split up into the different nations. So I did a lot of that trying to save the world. And I discovered that I did not save the world, and I'm not able to do that. So I really tried to reduce down how I could help people on a smaller level. And I did that I went to culinary school because I really loved the tangible aspect of it and giving people that positive experience. Also through fitness, that's a big part of my life. I'm currently a manager over at Lifetime Fitness here in Colorado Springs, as well as a yoga instructor. I'm a 500-hour actually experienced yoga teacher. So I lead not only yoga teacher trainings, I help people become yoga teachers, but I also lead yoga retreats all over the world, or actually in Costa Rica and Belize. And we just got back from one, right, Lisa?
Yeah.
That was amazing. And I was really trying to help people not only experience adventure, but also combat their self-doubt and their fears so that they can live their best lives. And that's part of my goals. And my journey to get here has been, kind of bumpy along the way. Kids, divorce, different careers, different things of ideas of what I thought I should do to please, whether it be parents, other people, to kind of be in the same, what I'd say as league as my peers from Princeton and Columbia, and then what I truly wanted to do in my heart and what feeds my soul. And I've been able to settle on what feeds my soul, and that's where I am now.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing all that, Andrea. And I will say, yes, the retreat that I just got back from that you led over in Belize was life transformational. Like, it was amazing. You had us pick a word at the very beginning, something that we wanted to achieve. Mine happened to be connection. And I would say overachieved on that, and your retreat over delivered. And so that was a 7-day experience. That was amazing. And I can't even imagine your session, what that's going to be like for Life Reimagined. Now, I do know we're opening up the retreat. It'll be January 17th, 18th, and 19th. So we start Friday night around 4 p.m. with kind of a meet and greet registration and so forth. And then we're going to get into mindset breakthrough. So we're going to help people kind of figure out, what are your limiting beliefs? What has stopped you from achieving certain things in the past? And we're going to help you work through that. And then we're going to do a little bit of, I believe you're going to be leading a session on vision setting and journaling. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I think what I would love for people who come into the retreat to do first is come in just kind of with their first 3 goals that they have off the top of their mind, and realize how these goals change as they kind of dig a little bit deeper into what they really want from life, whether it be from their career, from their family, from relationships, from their own physical just presence in this world. We'll talk a lot about getting more into what makes you tick, what brings you, what brings you satisfaction and joy, and how you can manifest those in your daily life and make it a part of your life rather than just some kind of higher, like pie in the sky kind of idea.
Awesome. So that'll be our Friday night, the way we kick that off. And then Saturday morning, we'll be opening up with a breathwork session that you will also be leading. Is that correct?
Absolutely. We'll be doing a breath work session about 20 to 30 minutes. And the reason why is because breath work in itself is an incredibly powerful tool. You've probably heard a lot of biohackers talk about how the importance of breathing, and why breathing is so important is because it really is a twofold process. We have the natural ability to breathe, like you're breathing just sitting here listening to this live. But then you also have the intentionality behind breathing. And it's the intentionality, that purposefulness behind breath that can be so powerful on your whole entire central nervous system. It lights up what we call the parasympathetic side of your central nervous system. That's the rest and digest side, versus the fight or flight side, the sympathetic side, which is, you're being chased by a bear or you're under incredible stress. When you have the parasympathetic nervous system more engaged, you're better able to really reflect on, have more clarity and reflect on your goals and your purpose, more so than when you're, trying to get the kids to school, trying to get to work on time, trying to get the bills paid, trying to do all these things that are just kind of the superficial things of life that get you stuck and prevent you from digging deep into what you really want and need to do.
Awesome. And you said that's about 20 to 30 minutes to open up our Saturday session. And then from there, you're going to be leading a session it's like a vision board, but it's not the traditional vision boards that people are used to. What makes this session different? What are you offering, and what can people expect during this session?
Well, I think, the traditional vision board, and some of you may have done it before. You kind of go to a magazine and take out pictures of like an island or a yacht or, a cup of coffee and say, these are things that I want to manifest. And oftentimes they're just kind of like trigger things that you're like, ooh, that would be cool to do. Or, how it doesn't give you the tools to get to where you want to get. In terms of the vision board that we'll be looking at, it's more of like a cue card or a complementary event to bring you forward in your goals for this year of 2025. So we'll be digging deeper into asking ourselves questions about what really matters to us, who we feel we are, what kind of relationships do we want to have, what kind of goals do we have, and they can be as micro as, I want to make X amount of money, but we also want to make them as specific as possible and not just pie in the sky ideas of, I want to be kinder or I want to be more physically fit. We want to look at things that really, really can get us down into the nitty gritty and why we want those things. Do we want to be physically fit because we think that will help us attract a partner? Or do we want to be more physically fit for our intrinsic health and to be able to improve our ability to help others on this planet? So we're really going to look at kind of the why behind the things we want, not just the things we want to achieve.
That sounds amazing. And that's a key part in the vision boards is the why. Why do we want the things? Why do we do these things? So that's awesome that you're going to dive into that with our participants. Following your vision boards, we have Aiki Chan, who will be helping people come up with a 90-day action plan to kind of reverse engineer their goals, their vision, what they're seeing to help them achieve them. And what's really neat is from our last retreat that we did in November was we really built what I would call like a collective of people that were just amazing. Everybody connected. We were able to connect them with some of the different coaches and even their peers that were at the event. And it's amazing to see them co-elevating. I'm very big on co-elevating and collaborating. I always say we live in a world where there's a lot of competition, but there's enough out there where we don't need to compete. We can all work together and really build some pretty amazing things. So again, the Aiki will help them put together that action plan to help them build out and achieve what you've got on the vision board, and accessing the whys they're doing that.
And I love that idea of cross-fertilization, because sometimes we know we want something, whether it is something like a material object, or we want to travel somewhere, or we want a new job and take that jump. But when we have the cross-fertilization and the support of others that are like feeding that idea and supporting that idea and being like, hey, you can do this. I do believe in you. We forget sometimes how amazing we are until we hear it from other people. And I think that connection that will be created at the retreat is just fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's super exciting. I've met with quite a few of our participants from the November retreat, and just seeing where they're going that's exciting. That's why we do what we do. It's like, it truly is watching people living life reimagined. And then Sunday morning, so that's our Saturday session. And there's quite a lot going on there. We're doing the vision boards and we're coming up with the action plan and how to achieve all that. And then you're going to lead us in a morning energizer on Sunday morning with some breath work again. Is that correct?
Yeah, we'll do some breath work. We might I'll ask the participants to dress in something relatively comfortable, not like suit and tie, because they won't be ready to do some mobility work, but gentle movements that kind of open up again the central nervous system and open up the body, because I don't know if you know, but that physical activity, the mind-body connection, is so important to being able to generate ideas, to have clarity of thought, and to be able to move forward. So we'll do that on Sunday morning. Yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome, because that makes a big difference. I mean, coffee can only get us so far in the mornings, and having that mind-body connection is just so valuable. So that's awesome. Let's see. And then I guess following your session, we will be doing what's called Sustaining Change in Daily Habits. That'll be led by Ken Lewis and possibly a little bit with me, but creating wellness routines, because we can put all this stuff together, but actually taking your action and doing it is such a different way of, I guess it's making sure we achieve things that we're supposed to achieve, right?
Yeah, it's kind of keeping you accountable. I don't know if you've ever heard of the challenge, the 75 hard challenge. It's like 75 days of doing these really strict disciplines. And I'm not necessarily a fan of something quite that dramatic, because it's easy to fall off the ledge. But having some form of accountability that also is mixed with a little bit of grace, so that you know that you have a plan, and that what happens if you deviate from the plan, you can get right back up and start again. I think that's super valuable. So having those habits, that habit tracking or that habit installation happening at the end of the retreat, so that you know what you want to do, so that you know if you aren't able, like a day happens, you're sick, or whatever happens, that you can't achieve what you wanted to do, you know that that's not the end, that you can get right back on. And it's that long-term commitment to it that I think is so valuable.
That's good. And speaking of habits, you have a workshop, like a 6-week long workshop that you've developed to help people kind of build habits. Is that correct? Is it the Wellbeing Blueprint?
Yeah, it's called the Wellbeing Blueprint. And we dive into 6 dimensions of your well-being, including your physical, which most people, are aware of. I won't say everyone has it dialed in, but that has to do with fitness, nutrition, hydration, and sleep, but also emotional, and helps you get a little bit more deep dive into what your emotions are, connecting to your emotions. Because a lot of the time we're very distant from our emotions and we numb ourselves from them. But when we dig deeper into them, we have a better sense of who we are. We have a better ability to connect with people. And it can be hard, but it's super valuable for your overall, best life. And then we also delve into things like social, your connections with other people, spiritual, which isn't just religious. It can be, but it also can deal with just what's your purpose in life. It's so important to have that idea of a purpose, and that keeps you going. I know some studies of the blue zones, for example. I don't know if you guys have ever looked at that. There's so much exciting research in the Netflix documentary, but it talks about that purpose is one of the things that helps keep people living into their 80s, their 90s, their 100s. This idea of retiring and you're no longer of use, but keep going. And that's kind of what the spiritual aspect of your well-being can look at. We also look at environment. How do you create the surroundings around you? Not just going outside. That's incredibly important, but also how do you create a space that nurtures your goals and nurtures your well-being? So looking at all these 6 dimensions and how you can create habits to optimize them and live your best life.
That's awesome. So yeah, I went through your course, and that was actually when I asked if you would join our Life Reimagined team to actually teach that in a 1.5-hour session in our November retreat. And it was awesome because it totally set the tone for the rest of the retreat and was so foundational for our participants. So I would highly recommend anybody that is looking at wanting to develop some new habits, especially for 2025, and even to set you up for the Life Reimagined retreat that's taking place January 17th, 18th, and 19th to go and access that. And where could they purchase that and dive into that course?
Yeah, and they can go to my website. It's Andrea B. Yoga and Wellness. So it's AndreaBYogaandWellness.com. And that's where they can find out about my retreats. They can find out about the Wellbeing Blueprint and connect with me. I do a monthly newsletter and also find out more about Life Reimagined.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Andrea. And so we invite you guys, come have a breakthrough experience in 2025. It is less than 30 days away, which is so crazy. And I know a lot of people are not necessarily ready for January 1st, which is just around the corner and like 9 days away or so. It's happening. So if you're not necessarily ready there, but you kind of want to get into 2025, come join us for a breakthrough experience. Get the vision boards done. Find out your whys. You want to do things. Find your purpose and join us. If you would like more information, you can go to www.f2x.co. And anybody that is viewing this live stream, you can use our code, which will give you $300 off a ticket. And that is a capital A for Andrea, L for Lisa, and then VIP. And then today's date, 12/23/24. So ALVO VIP 12/23/24. We invite you to come join us. If you have more questions, you can connect through the www.f2x.co. Our websites are all on there. And yeah, we can go from there. So thank you all for joining us on this live. I look forward to seeing you all at Life Reimagined, January 2025.
Awesome. Thanks, Lisa.